There's a pretty well-known medical doctor. His name is Gabor Maté, and he has this type of psychotherapy that he calls compassionate inquiry. He's an expert in trauma and addictions, and what I absolutely love about him, and I post him a ton here on Instagram and on Facebook, is that he does his approach in a Humanity 101 way. He doesn't get into super high clinical language. He just talks to people like people. He talks to humans like just our human experience of trauma, of pain, of what we do with our feelings. He's amazing. So his name is Gabor Maté. Look him up. But the point of this video is this. Gabor Maté says that it's not the trauma that actually has long-term effects. It's what was happening at the time when we experienced the trauma. The aloneness in our trauma is what I talk about it. It's how I talk about it. Is feeling that we just had this horrific experience in our life, and what was around us at the time, who was there for us. And in most cases, what causes long-term impact is that we didn't have people around us, or the people around us were not caring or soothing or just giving us a ton of space to really process, integrate, alchemize, transmute the actual event, traumatic event. And so I was thinking about that, and the way that I describe this, and I want to give it to you, I just want to give you things, is it's the memory within the memory is how I call it. The memory within the memory. In literature, there's a phrase that's the text within the text, meaning what is the text that's actually within the text that we're reading. And for me, what the memory within the memory means is that who was there? How did they respond? All Humanity 101 stuff. So I'm going to give you 3 examples of moments in my life, and I want you to think about moments in yours. The first example is in my 20s, I just had the most horrific heartbreak. After a year of being with someone, and I was completely unhealed around my emotional patterns, and this person was unfaithful to me. It just brought me to my knees. It really did. All of my unworthiness, my undeservingness came up. My comparisons to others, you can imagine. And I remember going to my parents' home, just sobbing, distressed. And I couldn't talk about it. I just couldn't talk about it. It was too overwhelming. And I remember my mother would just come into my room, and she would sit in her chair and read. She would just sit there. She was just present. As I was maybe in the bed or crying, she was just there. And that was a memory within a memory. She framed that experience with her beautiful, loving presence. That's Humanity 101. The second one is when our cat died, 10 years of being with this cat. This cat was older than my son. When my son was born, we had this cat. And by the time our cat died, my son's dad and I were divorced, and we were amicable, but not really in touch. And when we knew we had to put the cat down, I called my son's dad and said, go get him out of school. Go get him out of school. And so my son's dad went, picked him up, took him out of school, and we put the cat down at the vet's office. And the three of us just sat with each other and we prayed and we had memories together. And what was most important to us was the memory within the memory of the three of us being there, and the two of us, the adults, being there for our son, because that was the only pet he'd ever known and adored and loved. Her name was Gremlina. The other memory I want to give you is my best friend. He had a bad breakup, and he had to move out of the apartment, and it was raining. And another friend of ours, it was three of us, we picked up the U-Haul, and it was raining really hard, and we were moving all of his stuff out from the apartment in the rain. And the three of us were sitting in the front seat of the U-Haul truck, wet. And he had moments of crying, and we played some music, and we spent the whole day together. And there we all were, the three of us in the rain, sometimes driving and crying, and just making sure that we were there. Again, the gift of presence, the memory within the memory, the experience of who was there, how they were there, presence. And if we think of it, of course, that's a play on words, right? Presence as gifts and presence as humanity 101. What we as humans can do for one another. And it's free. It's free, and yet it has the power punch of millions. So I want to give that to you. I want to give you this, the memory within the memory. Have a good day. And be thinking about your memories within memories.